Okay, recording started. I am so excited, like I said, to be sharing this information with you. Seriously changed my life years and years ago. And it's something that has been incredible for changing the face of medicine. So I'm going to kind of go through a little bit of a background on what we're talking about so you can kind of understand how complex this world is that is our gut, and why it's so important. So our gut is actually our second brain, and some say possibly the most important because it's about 1,000 times louder than our own brain. So it's very much more in charge of what we eat and how we are getting nutrients to the rest of our body. So it's really an incredible thing that we have, as of 2012, discovered so much about it. And it really is changing how medicine is practiced because it is incredibly complex. And we are seeing that it's tied to so many diseases when we have an imbalance in our gut. So there's an amazing thing called the microbiota. It is all the beneficial bacteria. It's this whole world of beneficial organisms in our gut. There's these complex, basically, processes that they do for us. So not only do they, and I'm going to see if I can just do this. Oh, that's awfully big. Let's see if we can do that. So the mic, Amy, can you see me? Is it a large screen as I'm talking? I could shrink that down.
I see you at the bottom, and then I just see the large picture of the stomach and the.
Okay, great. I think hopefully you're not gonna. Okay, I'm gonna have to move my screen around. Thank you so much. Okay, so the microbiota is this complex system that literally it manufactures vitamins for us, helps us digest starches, sends messages to the brain, and more. And I'm really passionate about this because my family has really struggled with gut health. And you'll see in a little bit some of the long list of things that can be involved in that. But I'll go through the list with my family here really quick. My husband, major arthritis. My son, major eczema, allergies, some sensory processing issues. My daughter, a little bit different because I started to learn this when my son was 2. So she's so much better than all of and I should say back up to myself, I had headaches, a lot of digestion issues, some food allergies as well. My daughter, not so much. I got to kind of balance my own microbiota before she was born. And she's probably the most well-functioning of all of us. And then my youngest, she actually had to have a surgery when she was 6 months old that completely wiped out her gut microbiome. And so we have been working to rebalance that as well. So I'll share a little bit more of our story in a little bit. But this is why I'm passionate. This has been very, very much the baseline for my family's health. And I'm really excited to be getting this message out to as many people as possible because it really is unknown. And this is really, there's a lot we can do about this. So the first thing that we want to talk about is how are our guts colonized. So we are actually born with no beneficial bacteria. We are colonized by birth. So whether or not we're born vaginally or C-section. If we're born vaginally, we're getting all those beneficial bacteria from the mom. If we're born by C-section, the first bacteria that are being introduced to the baby are things that are on the doctor's hands or tools or things like that, and anything that the baby comes in contact with after. So it's really important if the C-section is necessary to really get some beneficial probiotics in there. Diet has a huge, huge role in the microbiota and how healthy it is or not. We kind of have shot ourselves in the foot in essence by being this super sanitary society now. We've moved away from gardening and fermenting things and getting a lot of good beneficial bacteria by just being over sanitary. Medications have a huge role. Lifestyle definitely has a huge role, and genetics to a certain extent. And I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. But this I found really, really fascinating, just to kind of see how just different medication affects us. So penicillins allow bacteria found in the bowel to move up into the intestines where it doesn't belong. Tetracyclines alter protein structures in the gut wall, causing the immune system to attack the gut. mycins, like erythromycin, can completely wipe out the good E. coli, leaving individuals more susceptible to the bad strains of E. coli. And steroids almost always equal a fungal overgrowth. And contraceptive pills are devastating to the gut. So, unfortunately, I was on all of these things in my, between teenager to, early 20s, mid 20s. So my gut was really, really off, and I'll kind of show how that is of importance to my kids in a little bit. But first, what we really want to understand is that 70% of our immune system is in our gut. So this is really important. And then there's a lot of different things like 3/4 of our body's neurotransmitters are created in the gut. So there's again, that huge gut-brain connection. And the gut has more metabolic activity than our liver. And one of the things I really want to kind of educate people on is this here. When your body is out of balance, so when you have more bad bacteria than good bacteria in your gut, your body's in a state of dysbiosis. And they found this kind of accidentally by actually transferring bacteria from one mouse to the other. And they found that if they transferred the bacteria of an overweight mouse to a skinny mouse, the skinny mouse would become overweight. And so this was incredible for scientists looking for weight loss solutions, because it was as simple as gut bacteria for weight loss. Honestly, there's other aspects of weight loss, but there was a huge, profound effect on getting the microbiota balanced in individuals. So when you have more bad bacteria than good, it's called dysbiosis. And it can, that scale can be tipped. But the nice thing about it, and again, I'll share a little bit more in a little bit, is it's easy to tip the scale in your benefit. So I just kind of giggled at this, check this guy for dysbiosis stat. Because, when you're craving things like, you've got to eat the cheeseburger or you're going to die, or you got to eat the donut or you're going to die. That's not you thinking. That's your microbiota saying, I'm dying. You got to, feed me. And it's probably the bad ones. So there's a lot we can do to change our tastes. I want to let you guys know what we're kind of up against when we're in dysbiosis. So some general signs of leaky gut or dysbiosis is chronic fatigue, food allergies, seasonal allergies, joint pain, arthritis, skin rashes like eczema, nutritional deficiencies, a weakened immune system. And then more severe leaky gut symptoms are IBS, Crohn's, celiac, diabetes, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and Hashimoto's. Brain-related symptoms can be as simple as, poor mood, brain fog, anxiety, and depression. And then more severe neurological symptoms can be Alzheimer's, autism spectrum disorders, fibromyalgia, general anxiety, headache and migraine, multiple sclerosis, and neuropathy. So very, very important to be understanding that this has a huge role in our overall health. So when I'm doing these presentations in person, I always like participation. And so I usually have people guess how many packets of sugar are in this orange soda bottle, because it's important to understand how sugar, refined carbs, hydrogenated oil, processed food chemicals, all of those things have a devastating effect on our microbiota. And they're sneaky. We don't really understand, we're not really aware, honestly, as how much gets snuck into our foods. And so I always use this illustration because this is a small orange soda bottle, like you would get out of a vending machine, not a large one. And people, guess from anywhere from, 5 to 10 or whatever, and it's actually 22 packets. So that's like the size of a tall iced tea, right? You would never stir 22 packets of sugar into iced tea, and yet that's how much is in an orange soda. And we don't taste it because it's, artificially flavored, it's cold, it's carbonated. And the reason I bring this up is sugar has an incredible detrimental effect on the microbiota. It feeds yeasts. Yeasts are actually corkscrew shaped. They drill holes in our gut. And so when we have too much yeast, we're constantly fighting, leaky gut, because it's happening. Even if we're doing good things, if we don't get to take care of the yeast, it's continuing to drill holes in our gut lining. And I always share this because it's incredible how much our intake of sugar has increased from the turn of the century to now. They actually say now it's about an average of 250 pounds a year per person. Whereas back in the day, it was maybe like every 5 days we'd have this much sugar. And now every 5 days is about this much sugar. So it's about 3,500 pounds on average in a person's lifetime. So that's a lot of sugar. And I will, I kind of say like I paint a scary picture and then there's the good news at the end. Sugar is incredibly addictive. It's more addictive than cocaine. It creates this very complex, high and crash and dependency. So it's really important to understand the sugar cycle. But not all sugars are created equal. So we can have our cake and eat it too a little bit. There are natural sweeteners that are so much better. The problem with white sugar is it's processed 27 times, including bleaching. And so it's very, very hard for our body to recognize. It actually paralyzes our immune system for up to 6 hours. And when you think about, how much sugar we eat, over the winter, I don't really like to call it the cold and flu season. I like to call it the sugar holiday season, where you start with Halloween, right? And then you end with Easter, how much sugar we're intaking. So one of the simple ways that I kind of try to battle that with my kids is if they get candy and stuff from school, they'll bring it home and I'll make them a more natural, cookie or muffin or cake that they can exchange it out for. Just an idea. But here's the good news. One of the most amazing things about our microbiota is that it can change fast. And usually I have people guess here too, but that's not as interactive as when we're in person. The microbiota, the bacterium in our microbiota have an average lifespan of about 20 minutes. So we can have a whole new microbiota in as little as a day. So that's really, really exciting. And one of the things that I often hear, so I'm a certified health coach, and one of the things that I often hear from clients is that, well, I have bad genetics. I've got cancer and diabetes and all these things in my family, and so that's my destiny. Well, genes are not your destiny. One of the amazing discoveries is that we've completely mapped the whole human genome, and so we understand now that we can turn on and off bad genes, which is so exciting. So literally we can turn off those bad genes. We can turn off that cancer switch. We can turn off the diabetes switch, and we don't pass them on to our kids. And so this is why I get really geeky about this information, because we are literally changing our future. Unfortunately, I really am a mom on a mission, because unfortunately, for the first time in history, our kids today have a shorter life expectancy than we do, which is just not okay with me. And so I'm really, really passionate about getting this information out there, because there's a lot we can do about that. And again, our genes don't have to be our destiny. So we can literally have a much healthier next generation than our generation, just by making some diet and lifestyle changes and not passing those on to our kids, and or just turning those switches off in our kids and they don't pass them on to their kids. And so I keep it really simple for my kids. I always say happy bugs make happy bodies, and we want to feed our happy bugs. And this was really profound to me when I understood that. So we are born 100% human, because we don't have that whole microbiota, right? And we die with 90% of the cells in our human body that are our microbiota. So not human cells, which is incredible, right? So there are trillions and trillions of these guys. If you took all of the beneficial bacteria and bad bacteria off and out of your body, it would weigh about 5 to 6 pounds, and it's invisible. That's incredible to me. Probably some weird sludge or whatever weigh on the scale. That's gross, but over 100 trillion in our body. That's amazing. So I talk to my kids, are you feeding your good bugs or your bad bugs with that choice? And sometimes it's not fun to switch to good, feeding our body with the good bugs, because we're going to have die-off. We're going to have symptoms like headache, achiness, other things that as the bad bacteria are dying, incredible cravings for sugar. As our bad bacteria are dying off, they're sending those messages to our body like, hey, we're dying. This is not good. And so if we can just kind of be aware of that, some clients are like, I don't want to eat a lot of raw vegetables. They make me gassy. Well, making you gassy because you have a lot of bad bacteria that are dying off by doing that. And so it's short-term uncomfortability for long-term gain. Let's see what else here. So yeah, just kind of educating our kids. And another thing that I get a lot of questions on is probiotics. One of the things that we understand about probiotics now is that there are probably over 35,000 different beneficial bacteria strains. And I think the largest I've ever seen in a probiotic is 35 different strains. You'll see billions of those 35 different strains, but not 35,000 strains in one probiotic. So when you're taking a probiotic, you're getting just a small portion of the picture. It's beneficial if you're having to take an antibiotic or something like that. You want to get probiotics in, but you don't want to be taking them as a long-term solution. The other thing that they see is sometimes the body can build up a mucus resistance to probiotics because they're encapsulated and they're not in their natural state. And then the other thing too that you really need to understand is prebiotics are just as important. We need to feed the beneficial bacteria, and I'll go into that in a little bit. First thing I want to say is that we just think about the 80-20 rule. We don't have to be perfect, but we want about 80% good guys in our body and to 20% bad guys. That's when we're in homeostasis. That's when we're not in dysbiosis. And then the prebiotics actually come from oligosaccharides or fructooligosaccharides. And that's really important because it's a digestion resistant starch that literally just feed the good guys in our gut and not ourselves. It's something that we can't digest. And some of my simple mom tricks for shaping the microbiota early on, I'll go into a little bit more of this in a second, is to nurse. Using sauerkraut is actually a great probiotic. It's a natural, it's 1 teaspoon of the juice of raw fermented sauerkraut has more probiotics than an entire bottle. And then smoothies. So one of the things that I do is I'm a sneaky mom because kids sometimes reject the taste of healthy foods. Your microbiota actually lives all over, not just our gut. It's in our mouth. So sometimes if we're in dysbiosis, we can have this white coating on our tongue that is actual yeast on our tongue. And when healthy foods hit it, it starts to kill the yeast, and then it tastes awful. So as people, sometimes my litmus test of people, whether or not they're in dysbiosis, is I'm like, how do you feel about sauerkraut? And if I get the shudder, then I know that they're probably in dysbiosis. They've tasted it before and it tasted god awful to them. And I've watched as we sneak maybe a few teaspoons of sauerkraut juice into a smoothie, and it starts killing off the bad guys in the mouth, but also masks it with things like pineapple or blueberries. They actually, kids can get to the point where they can eat sauerkraut plain. They would actually eat it plain because there's no longer all the bad guys in their mouth, if that makes sense. So definitely shape young tastes. Make sure that tongue is clear. Make sure if they're rejecting, healthy foods. I put broccoli in smoothies. I have a really high speed blender, so I put sauerkraut, broccoli, pineapple, and blueberries to mask the flavor, but I sneak a lot of things in. And then in order to restore our microbiome, we want to do things like spend time in nature, eat plenty of raw plants, avoid antimicrobial drugs and toxic body care products, exercise and manage stress, eat small amounts of fermented veggies, eat fiber-rich plants, and try not to eat late. Our microbiota starts to shut down at 6. So we're not digesting as effectively after that. And breast milk is a superfood. We all know that. But what they've discovered recently that's very exciting is that breast milk sugars actually give infants this protective coating. There's a new beneficial bacteria that they've discovered that is unique to breastfed babies. It's actually this beneficial bacteria that completely lines the gut and protects it from pathogenic bacteria. And so breastfed babies, not only do they get a lot of beneficial bacteria through the breast milk, but they also get this digestion resistant starch. So the oligosaccharides. Breast milk is pretty much primarily oligosaccharides. And so it's not only giving baby beneficial bacteria, but also all of that prebiotic that's so important to help that microbiome develop and function properly. And what I'm really excited about this in terms of this discovery is that, not all moms can breastfeed. It's not an easy road. And I'm hoping that with this, that they can start putting some of these beneficial things in formula for those moms that don't have that choice. And so we can really help shape, those babies' microbiota in a positive way as well. This makes me laugh. This is the only picture that I could see feed your microbiome. So anyway, this is my silly moment here. But veggies are gut food. They're so incredible. And this is important. You really want to have enough servings of raw fruits and vegetables a day. And this is when I would ask people, how many servings a day did you get in today? And oftentimes, the average honestly is about 2.5 servings. That is not very much. A serving is the size of your fist. We want to get 9 to 13 servings a day. And if you have an imbalance, if you have, achy joints, if there's sensory stuff going on, if there's headaches or acne or any of the signs that things are just not, your body's not functioning properly, you want even more. And if you're an athlete, the current recommendation, if you exercise for an hour in any 24-hour period, the recommendation is 16 to 18 servings a day. So very little of us are doing that. Like I said, prebiotics are important. Things like garlic, onions, bananas, asparagus, dandelion root, chicory root, dandelion greens, chicory root, things like that. And probiotics like sauerkraut, fermented veggies, tempeh, kombucha, and more are so important. But the reason that fruits and vegetables are so incredible, not only for instance, cabbage, the reason sauerkraut's so powerful is cabbage has so many probiotics living on it. And when you ferment it, it just kind of perpetuates that cycle. You can literally make your own sauerkraut by mashing shredded cabbage with salt and then mashing it down, getting the juices out, leaving it in your pantry for about 7 to 10 days. And all of those probiotics just proliferate on themselves. So all raw fruits and vegetables have these amazing probiotics and prebiotics in them already. And they have all these other beneficial things. So an apple actually has 10,000 different phytonutrients or beneficial ingredients. And that's a huge difference between a multivitamin. Again, probiotic, pill, multivitamin, we tend to think of fruits and vegetables having a lot of antioxidants, which they do. They not only have incredible antioxidants, but they have all these different phytochemicals that do things like go and kill cancer cells, decrease inflammation. I mean, the list goes on. So there's so many benefits to fruits and vegetables, not just for your microbiota. But a lot of us, unfortunately, take that easy route and do a multivitamin. Well, that's not the same because you couldn't possibly, we've only discovered 13 vitamins and then there's handfuls of minerals. So at most, a multivitamin has like 50 ingredients if they throw some herbs in there as well. So that's a huge difference between the 10,000 ingredients that's in an apple. This is 400 of the known ingredients. And it would take 26 pages to list out everything. They see this. There's compounds they haven't even discovered yet, but they can measure them based on chemical breakdowns of the apple. So it's really exciting. And then what they found too is that every different fruit and vegetable has its own array of thousands and thousands of phytonutrients. So Dr. Sears, I love Dr. Sears. I got my certification through Dr. Sears, and I love his simplicity. So he talks about the 6S diet, so seafood, primarily from wild caught Alaskan salmon, getting those wonderful omega-3s, smoothies with multiple dark fruits and berries and greens, and then salads, go green, do things like, arugula and kale in your salads. And then spices, things like turmeric, black pepper. When you combine turmeric and black pepper and use a little oil, like a coconut oil, and kind of simmer that, it's 6,000 times more bioavailable to our bodies than just, sprinkling on turmeric. So there's some fun ways to get a lot of benefits out of the turmeric. Smart snacking, definitely. Grazing is better for our microbiota than a giant meal that it has to digest. And the rule of two, so eat twice as often and half as much. And then things like, let your kids play with chopsticks so you can kind of teach them that slowly eating is a little bit better and chewing. Oh, so this is rule of two is chew twice as much. Eat half as much, twice as often, and chew twice as much. And then supplements and smart supplements, and we'll get into that in just a second. I really want to share with you my journey on this health journey. So it's actually about 14 years ago now since I made this infographic. I was a first-time mom. I was actually terrified first-time mom. My son was 1 and he wasn't making eye contact, and he wouldn't eat anything but the beige diet. And I was tearing my hair out. Honestly, I didn't want he was definitely showing early signs of autism, and I did not want that for my son. So I found a specialist. I flew him to Baton Rouge to see her. She had her MD, her biochemistry degree, and her naturopathic doctorate. And I took him to see her, and she was actually super instrumental in really educating me about a lot of this information. And she shared with us a product called Juice Plus that was a way to just flood his body with tons and tons of plants. And I actually started taking it alongside of him because I wanted to be on the same journey as my son and experiencing what he was experiencing. But she was very excited about this product because it not only reduced oxidative stress by 75%, which is incredible. And kids on the spectrum, they tend to have more oxidative stress than we do because for whatever reason, their detox pathways are more clogged than ours. And then she went on into the research even more than that. But within a few months, he started making eye contact again. And that was such a huge thing for me as a mom. Like I got to see his light go back on. And then for me, I had cystic acne. I had a bunch of weight that I couldn't shake and just horrible food cravings. And I was exhausted all the time. And within a few months, most of those things rectified for me as well. So that was a huge gift. And my next 2 pregnancies were incredibly night and day difference. I had horrible swelling with him and preeclampsia, and my other 2 pregnancies, none of that. And I lost the baby weight right away. So we have so much benefited from changing our microbiota for sure. And it's a generational thing. So for my mom, she had seasonal allergies, and for me, it progressed. So I got her somewhat off microbiota, right? And it progressed into food allergies for me. And then the next progression is actually into brain issues. So that really made sense as to where Gabe was. And then when I was able to repair my microbiota, Mia, my second daughter, has such a different health picture. Never really been sick, never been on antibiotics. She's just a great eater. She doesn't have any of the issues that he had, none of the eczema and colic and things like that. So this really is powerful for moms and just powerful in general, just for anyone that has, experiencing these things as a child themselves or is dealing with dysbiosis today. So we really just want to invite you to our Healthy Living Revolution. There's so much information like this that we have on this incredible website called healthylivingrevolution.com. And really, there's so much, there's free webinars, there's thousands of healthcare professionals that work within the Healthy Living Revolution that share information like this. There's a cookbook. There's several cookbooks actually that are free to download. And I'll get into that a little bit more, but this is all brought to you by the Juice Plus company because they are super passionate about sharing healthy living and getting messages out there. They do have products that they offer for people that need a simple solution, right? Because it's not always easy to get what we need. They have these incredible capsules that are 30 different vine ripened different fruits, vegetables, and berries. They come in an amazing chewable form. And then we have a complete protein shake. It's completely vegan, but it has all 9 essential amino acids. And then if you want to do it yourself, maybe a solution for you is to grow it yourself. I got to the point where I felt like I was juicing. I had a Vitamix. We were eating fruits and vegetables out of a trough, it felt like. And I stopped taking Juice Plus. I felt like we could do it ourselves. And honestly, our energy levels went down. We started getting sick again. We were not getting the variety, nor were we getting the freshness. Most of the time, when things are picked early and shipped and then stored on the supermarket shelves, they're losing so much nutrition. In fact, a green bean loses all of its vitamin C within 24 hours of picking. So there's a lot of nutrients that are lost. So the Tower Garden is an incredible aeroponic growing system that you can grow your own and get all of those awesome nutrients to your microbiota. I love the Tower Garden. These are pictures of ours. And we were living in Las Vegas for quite some time. So they are incredible you just can't grow anything in Las Vegas, or at least I couldn't. Until we got a Tower Garden. And my son today, he's an amazing, very bright young guy. And we did some homeschooling while we were in Las Vegas. And this is one of his growing projects that he was very excited. He was photobombing his purple cauliflower. The Tower Garden is awesome. It grows 30% faster and 30% more yield. It also has no dirt. It's all ionic earth minerals stored in the base here with a pump and water. It uses 90% less water because it's all self-contained and 90% less space. So it's a really fun solution. We grow indoors with ours. This is my mom's in her laundry room, and we had one in our corner window in Las Vegas. And then we have the simple solution of Juice Plus. So Juice Plus, if you're taking the trio of capsules or trio of gummies with the complete powders, that's another 15 plants. You're getting 45 plants in your body every single day, which is huge, huge, huge. And can you imagine what's happening on a cellular level as your cells are actually getting the nutrition they need from all of these different amazing foods? I love that Juice Plus is very unique. It's got a food label. So not only it's like a package of spinach. You'll just see a few of the nutrients, required by law, because you couldn't possibly put those tens of thousands of ingredients on the food label, but you know that it's not a supplement, because normally you would see a supplement facts label. And when you see a supplement facts label, you know that there's, everything that's on there has to be standardized. So it would be topped off with isolated nutrients. And then we get all of those tens of thousands of phytonutrients. Everything is non-GMO, so that's really important, because genetically modified things are very devastating to our health. It's dairy-free, gluten-free. It's also third-party tested, and this is a big deal. Only 1% of supplements pass NSF. It's a third-party company that randomly comes in and pulls batches of Juice Plus to test it for anything between pesticides to molds and bacteria to heavy metals, things like that, and certifies it to be pure. So it's really exciting. The clinical research is incredible as well. So this is what really got the doctor that recommended it to us so many years ago on fire, because not only are these research articles double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized, and then peer-reviewed and published, but it really shows what Juice Plus does in the body for us. And it's a myriad of different benefits, like improves cardiovascular wellness, supports the immune system, improves gum tissue, reduces oxidative stress, like I talked about, reduces inflammation, protects DNA, skin. They've looked at it in childhood obesity and pre-diabetic conditions. I mean, the list goes on. And I'm so excited because they are actually looking at how it affects the microbiota in terms of intestinal permeability. So that's a new research study coming out soon, I hope, which is very, very exciting. We've seen that anecdotally by people with IBS, Crohn's, all coming into balance again. So that's why this particular area is being looked at. And I love that my daughter now goes out the door, to school. She makes her own smoothie. She's going out with all of these plant nutrients, the, protein powder in there, and the different things like kale. And I watch the difference between the days that she eats like oatmeal for breakfast or cereal, and the days that she has her smoothie. She can concentrate well into lunch when she has her smoothie, but not so much when she makes other choices. So that's really exciting. We also have a 10-day program for anyone that is kind of stuck in that yo-yo diet rut. Our body's job is to hold on to excess fat to protect our vital organs from toxins. So when we have a lot of impurities in our body, and then we, starve ourselves or exercise, we can lose the weight, but then we have this rebound effect, because really our body is saying, wow, that was close. That was almost cancer. Give me that fat back, because I need to protect those organs. When we detox, naturally, we lose the weight and it stays off because our body no longer needs that excess fat. So that's one exciting thing about our 10-day program. And this is for anyone. This is not a weight loss program. It's just really for anyone that wants to jumpstart their health and really do a gut reset. We've seen incredible results in friends of mine. Joel, this was him in his 30s. This is him in his mid 40s after having done the Shred 10, multiple times, and just really resetting his gut. My friend Erica was down 55 pounds and from a size 14 to a size 2. And again, this was a series of different, what we call Shred 10s. She actually said she did it for 30 days, so she called it Transform 30 at the time. And so a lot of people ask me, how much is Juice Plus? It's about $2.50 a day for the trio of capsules. So that's really affordable. I bought an organic peach in season where they grow, and it was $2.50. So that was one versus 30. So it's a real cost-effective way to just flood your body with plant nutrients. And then our complete shake, which is a complete meal, is about $2 a shake. And then the Shred 10, if you want to do the 10-day jump start, it's doing 2 shakes a day. So maybe one for breakfast, one for a snack in the afternoon, and the trio of capsules. So it's really an amazing program. And then Juice Plus has a huge heart. They gift Juice Plus away to kids for free. So any kid between the ages of 4 and 18 can get their Juice Plus for free for up to 4 years, which is incredible, with an adult sponsor. And they have seen, this is the largest longitudinal study of its kind. They have over 1 million participants at this point, and they see things like they're drinking more water, they're eating less fast food, they're getting sick less, they're more aware of their health, they're taking less prescription and medication, things like that. And again, on the healthylivingrevolution.com, there are incredible free resources. There's this free Healthy Kids Ambassador Guide. There's like coloring pages, there's activities, there's great education in this. Within this Freedom Revolution, we also have we have private Facebook groups. We have live events and continuing education like this. So definitely get back with Amy, and she can really guide you to the free resources that we have. And then we just invite you to be a part of our Healthy Living community. Take advantage of the free resources, and we hope that changes your health picture and your children's health picture. If Juice Plus is something that makes sense to you, we'd love to help you get started. It's really simple. And then if this really all of this makes sense to you, and you want your loved ones to come and hear something like this, please let us know that, because we'd love to just network with you and get this information out to people that is super life-changing. And I just want to thank you for your time. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then I'll take some questions live. All right.